All right, good evening, rule breakers. Welcome to another edition of React After Raw. We are here live on YouTube like we are every single week. We have a big show tonight. It was a big Monday Night Raw tonight, big returns, a big return here on React as well. So let me introduce the panel. Randy Hill, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. How about yourself?
I am great. And finally, making his return to React After Raw, Aussie. How are you tonight?
Well, it feels damn good to be back on React. And as the great one would say, finally, the OS has come back home.
Indeed, he has. You heard it here on React After Raw. The Oss is back. Matt can't be with us tonight, but he sends his wishes. He wishes he could be here, and I'm sure he will enjoy tonight's Raw because he is a big rock fan. So, Matt, have fun watching the show and shit in your pants. So let's jump right into it, guys. We're gonna kick off with the first hour here. We're gonna be here for the next hour, maybe hit overtime. Hoping we don't, but let's just go. Let's just get right into it. Raw opens up with that recap of last week with Dean Ambrose and Seth and everything else. Rollins comes out, cuts the promo, really calling out the fans. Oh, it's funny how you think this is funny. Let me show you what's funny. Like that development. And then quickly, Cena interrupts in usual Cena fashion, trying to steal the show from the younger talent. And then, of course, there's the spot in the crowd. Ambrose sneaks up on him. I love that spot because it's just really unexpected. And then, really, Rollins going for the pat back to somebody in the crowd. Turns out to be Ambrose. And then the Authority comes out, and in typical Triple H fashion, he tries to hype up the crowd after Stephanie says, do you want to see Cena Rollins tonight? Triple H does it in his usual fashion. And then they announce the main event. I thought it was a great way to open Raw, really set the momentum for the show, and it made me excited for what was to come later on in the evening. So, Randy, I want to jump to you and get your thoughts on that opening segment.
Um, I thought it was pretty great, actually. The only thing that I really truly hated about it was whenever, of course, the Authority came out and started talking to the fans. Like, I mean, every single time they come out, they literally shit on the fans. And I mean, I think that's their job, because they're supposed to be a heel leaders. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I really liked it. It got over with the crowd, obviously. So they got to do what they got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, I do. Yeah, I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but they are supposed to be a business, a heel faction, so it makes sense that they kind of shit on the crowd. But Aussie, what did you think about that opening segment?
I thought it was actually one of the only well booked parts of the show, to be perfectly honest with you.
Hmm.
I like the fact that Ambrose got the surprise shot in rather than Cena, because to be perfectly honest with you, Cena getting any shot in isn't a surprise at all, no matter when it comes. If it comes before Ambrose, if it comes after, everybody would be sitting there expecting Cena to make his move. Obviously, we have been doing the same for Ambrose in the past couple of weeks. It's almost like, is he gonna pop out of nowhere? Where could he be? Hiding under a box or whatever. I like Ambrose. I loved his reaction of just standing there next to Rollins, just kind of like, and then Rollins taps him on the. It was well done by those two, and I think that's a testament to Rollins and Ambrose. They just make it seem realistic to me.
Definitely, I definitely agree. It definitely does. As Triple H stated, last year, it's the reality era, so definitely bringing in a I guess a moment of reality to the show. And I got a couple rope breakers weighing in on YouTube here. Dr. Cyborg, I guess you're new. Welcome to React After Raw, saying, well, that escalated quickly. Riku78 saying Rock versus Rusev in 3 weeks. Dr. Cyborg weighing again, and no Brock. And Andrew Willis saying, yes, he'll shit on the crowd, lol. And Riku weighing in again. Orton is supposed to go face soon. Yeah, we've all heard the rumor. Aussie, I believe you talked about it on the Sharpshoot last week. Not too happy about that, as we all know. Orton's a natural born heel, but the WWE is going to do what they want to do. Uh, so that's that for that segment. And then they mentioned that Big Show was assigned to sensitivity training for that flag incident. We don't care
What a
about that.
joke.
Yeah, I mean, enough with this storyline.
Well, they did essentially erase Big Show from that storyline.
Yeah,
How do you reinvent, or how do you reintroduce Big Show into that storyline after The Rock comes in there and
you can't.
does
You
what
just
essentially
killed
nobody else has been able to do?
Yeah, you just killed it. That's it. Goodbye. Then they had the tag match, Ziggler Usos versus Cesaro and Goldust. The crowd, I will make one mention about this. The crowd was hot for Ziggler. They wanted Ziggler. I mean, that was the only, thing really working about that match was that the crowd was really into it. And I did enjoy it, but, the crowd, as I said, was hot for Ziggler. Then they had that guest stars segment with whoever from whatever morning talk show. Uh, Complete
Buried
and
by
total waste of fucking time. Even though it was like 5 to 7 minutes, I would have rather watched a C minus Divas match. Honestly, that it was awful. What was the point? Like, oh, we're here to support breast cancer, but yet you're sitting in the ring with sugar glass bottles and bashing them over each other's asses. Like, I'm not entertained by that. I'm just not. It's not entertaining. I get it. You want to be entertainment's in your name, but that's not entertaining. And then they made the announcement towards the end of Raw that some other guest star from some other shitty reality show on some cable network is going to be guest starring next week. Enough with the guest stars, really. Enough. First, they had the guest host, and now it's the guest stars. It doesn't matter. It all sucks. If you're going to have a guest star, at least have it be someone who is in the business, has knowledge of the business, someone from the past, something wrestling related, not fucking reality stars and drunk TV hosts. I just can't deal with it. I mean, do you guys have anything to add to that?
Oh man, I do have something to add to that actually. I'm not sure if a lot of people know this or not, but a little tidbit of background information on Kathy Lee Griffith or whatever the hell her name is, the blonde that was in the that terrible segment that nearly burned my eyes right out of my head. She actually, some people may know, some people may not. She co-hosted the Regis and Kathy Lee show for many years with Regis Philbin, who I believe is in the WWE Hall of Fame. I could be wrong there. I'm pretty sure he is as one of those, Pete Rose type Hall of Famers. Regis Philbin, rather, was a die-hard WWE fan, and once in a while he would have WWE stars on their show. And she, on the other hand, was actually a WWE hater, so to speak, or WWF back in this day.
Right,
so,
that was on the dirt sheets this week too.
Right, a lot of people were pissed off that they were letting her on the show after what she had to say about ravishing Rick Rude, who appeared on the Regis and Kathy Lee show, and she basically just made him out to be a pedophile, a creep. I mean, granted, I watched the appearance and it was kind of creepy, but I mean, it's Rick Rude, and I just don't think that WWE should know better. Its fans not going to be happy about somebody that's trashing a guy like Rick Rude, and then you go ahead and bring her on the show and she pretends to, be a big fan. It's an insult to intelligence. That's really all I have to say about that. And as far as the other guest stars go, they continue to get worse and worse and worse. We went from Wolverine to Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad to Florida Georgia Line. It's just continuing to really get low.
It's just shit. It's shit.
I mean, I'm not in favor of any of these celebrity stars, but I mean, Wolverine is one thing. At least that's somewhat appealing as a crossover audience. But when you're going to bring in a fucking Real Housewife, like,
What is the point?
I don't see the relation there. They used to
No.
have remember back in the day they used to have like athletes would come on. They wouldn't be guest stars, but they would always pan the camera into the crowd and say, "Oh, the Miami Dolphins are in the crowd, blah 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 tonight." Do that with
Exactly.
these fuckers if they want to
Well,
come.
I noticed tonight that there was a couple cast members from SNL in the audience. They didn't make a mention of that. I think that's a
Of
lot more
course not.
important than two drunk people uh, sitting in the ring. And a lot of rope breakers here weighing in on what we're talking about. Dr. Cyborg, big show to team up with Real Americans, and then he's weighing in two more times. They had a wine break, and then I'd rather watch Ric Flair embarrass himself. I
I think
agree.
we all
I'd
would.
rather watch Ric Flair elbow drop his suit jacket. Milstug, also known as Brandon Manuel here. Brandon, welcome to the show. Cyborg again. If you're going to have a guest star, make sure people know who the fuck they are. And
Good point.
Stone Cold needs to show up next week with The Rock, and boom, set up Brock versus Rusev with Austin as special guest ref. Uh, that's a lot. That's a really out there fantasy booking, but hey, never say never. And then Cyborg continuing to weigh in at least. And then was it Hawk raping Flair creepy and whoa whoa whoa, let's not badmouth the Magneto Sand out here. So,
Oh dear.
so after those guest stars, they replayed the Luke Harper vignette, and then you had Bo Dallas versus Mark Henry with Bo winning by countout, and then that brings us to hour 2 of Raw, and it opens up with the Dean Ambrose segment with Dean calling John out, saying, you need to come out here, let's solve this man-to-man right now, and Cena quickly comes out and fires back, you know, people, they love Dean Ambrose, and he kept insulting Ambrose, really, digging into Ambrose, really trying to get to him, but the crowd just ate it up because they love Ambrose so much. And, I might get heat for saying this, but I think we might be seeing, a newer side to John Cena where it's more about, his ego, and it's, instead of really being a company man, it's more about being about John Cena and what's best for him, and really centering around his ego and his goals, and really him doing that, saying as far as I'm concerned, we got this figured out. Um, I think this has potential to set up a great feud between the two, and we're going to see that first big match at Hell in a Cell, which was expected, and we reported that on RopeBreakWrestling.com. you know, and the crowd obviously with a raucous Cena sucks chant in there. And then, the thing that I love, just Dean Ambrose, I'm hungry. I'm going to go to, really playing up the Brooklyn crowd. I'm going to go to Coney Island. And then after they show him getting on the train, going to Coney Island on the Q train, I thought, it was brilliantly written, brilliantly booked. Definitely a great way to kick off that second hour, keep the viewers interested. I really like where this is going. I don't think, this is going to be another Cena buries a young talent. I really think, WWE sees something in Dean Ambrose and are really, going to move forward with him. So, Aussie, I want to know what you think about this second hour Raw with that opening segment.
I dug the whole Dean Ambrose segment, and I totally agree with you about them finally starting to realize his worth. And I don't think they're going to drop the ball on him. And this is interesting because just going back a couple months ago, we were talking about, could Ambrose be the guy that's left behind? Could he be left in the mid card? It seems like right now, I'm sorry, and I know Alec is a Roman Reigns fan, but it seems like Ambrose is making the best of, Roman Reigns being injured, because what was happening before we saw Roman Reigns get injured, we were seeing a build to a Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins feud. Reigns gets hurt, who slides right into that position seamlessly, and completely makes us forget that Roman Reigns even exists. Because to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't even really missed him on the show.
No, and you know what's sad? I have to agree. Even though I do like Roman Reigns, I like this feud better. Dean Ambrose is a better fit, and I do think that if something doesn't change with Reigns, he could be the one left behind.
I think I don't think he'll be left behind just because of his look.
Well,
You
yeah,
know just as well as anybody knows that
the
Vince
look.
McMahon's all about the look. Exactly. The thing about Rollins and Ambrose is they have that unmistakable chemistry. You look at Ambrose and you look at Rollins and you look at their feud. Immediately, you're reminded of Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, The Rock. I'm not going to say The Rock, Stone Cold because I don't think they're on that level yet. But I'm
No.
talking about feuds that are just you see these two guys get in the ring together, whether they're wrestling each other or not. You can tell there's a lot of chemistry there. It's like they really do hate each other, but we know that they don't hate each other. But like I said earlier, it feels real. They make it feel realistic, and that's what I really like about Rollins and Ambrose. And I think, to be perfectly honest with you, if I'm setting up to book WrestleMania right now, I'm booking some way for Brock Lesnar to lose the title before WrestleMania, and I'm booking Rollins going into WrestleMania as champion and Dean Ambrose walking out as champion, something like that, because that right there would be the Rock as Seth Rollins, that hot heel gets the
Yep.
title, and then you've got a guy that's getting really over with the crowd, a Stone Cold type character. They could almost build it like a WrestleMania 15 type feud where the babyface goes in there and gets the title, and then the Ambrose era begins. Kind of like they did with Daniel Bryan the last year.
Yep.
I just think that Ambrose seamlessly fits into that role.
I agree. And before we jump to Randy's thought, I just want to make a note that on Before the Bell, Matt really dove into Dean Ambrose's character and said that he doesn't think Dean Ambrose is main event material. And after these past few weeks, I'm wondering if he's changed his mind about that because, we know that he is, the resident Dean Ambrose guy here at Rope Break. So, I'm wondering if he's starting to change his mind, really, because that's a bold statement coming from him. But Randy, we are going to jump to you and get your thoughts on this segment.
Well, it's like Ozzy said about them doing the babyface and heel thing with like The Rock and The Rock and John Cena. I'm stupid as hell. Like The Rock and Stone Cold thing going on, I could completely see that happening. I'm giving Matt the Matt eyebrow raise, as you guys would call it, because I honestly do see Ambrose going in as the next big thing. Like, I mean, he's truly getting really, really over with the crowd right now, and I mean, the authority is taking it as it should go. With them completely being against the whole everybody being an Ambrose fan and blah 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 this, and I mean they're really making it look legit as hell. Uh, it's like Ozzy said though. If they were to take Lesnar out of the title picture for WrestleMania, I could definitely see it being Rollins and Ambrose in for the main event for the championship. On one other note though, I'm gonna rewind back a little bit. The Kathy Lee Gifford thing. The only thing that I could think of during that entire segment was where the hell was Mr. Garrison with the shotgun when you needed it? Seriously, that pissed me off so much. I mean, it was just a complete waste of time. But I mean, other than that, yeah, Ozzy's got the right idea on that completely.
Definitely. We're going to jump to our rope breakers here. Brandon Emanuel saying, biggest rope breaker. Riku, Cena going heel. Don't get ahead of yourself. I never said Cena going heel. I just said a different side of
You knew
Cena.
you were going to get heat for that.
So, yeah, I knew. But, I mean, I never said going heel. I just said different side of Cena, a more egocentric Cena. Brandon Wayne, again, piss on the bleachers and get to the ring with rope break. Rico, people are saying this is this generation's Hogan Piper with Cena and Ambrose. I can definitely see it. Dr. Cyborg, Reigns is being left in the dust. Too many of the same wrestlers, different packaging in WWE. Somebody fresh and interesting is exciting and is what we need, and Ambrose is just that. And then Wayne again could see Ambrose and Rollins doing some Booker and Stone Cold out in the outside world, for example, supermarket segments. and it going down to a storm. Definitely. Just have Goldust drinking a Slurpee awkwardly in the background, having a flashback. Some more great fantasy booking here from the Rope Breakers. And then after that, you had Bree versus Summer Rae, one hand tied behind Bree's back. Don't see the point. And I believe Matt made a comment on last week's show about the yes chants that they need to stop because he wants people to get excited for Daniel Bryan's return, and the yes chants just keep reminding us that he's there but he's not there, and they just kind of need to leave it alone. And I have to agree. I think it's cool that she's playing off her husband and tapping into that, but I think for the sake of Daniel Bryan's return, we really need to focus on the storylines at hand, and we'll leave the yes chants for Daniel Bryan at the San Francisco Giants game today.
Yeah, right. If I can quickly say something about that, one thing that's really been bugging me about WWE of late is the fact that we're gonna keep the yes chant on the show, but we're not gonna keep Daniel Bryan on the show.
Right.
It makes zero sense to me, and I know he has injuries. Okay, I understand that. There's absolutely no reason why he can't be on the show in some capacity. He's still walking around every day, isn't he? He still can go grocery shopping, can't he?
Exactly.
I mean, what is it that he can't be, involved in some kind of backstage storyline? This is the issue. They need to keep him in the back of our minds somehow, and the way that they're doing it is with the chant. But it's like they said in the past, it's not necessarily Daniel Bryan that's over, it's the chant itself. Just like at the end of tonight's show, we saw people chanting yes after Dean Ambrose hits Dirty Deeds on John Cena. I'm not necessarily sure I like that because it's supposed to be Daniel Bryan's chant, not Dean Ambrose's chant. But then,
right.
Just going back to what I was saying about him being on the show in some capacity, look at when Stone Cold had his injury. He was always on the show in some form or fashion. Going back to that era, they were all, somebody gets injured, they would still be on the show unless it was something where they couldn't be there, like Triple H tearing a quad. Obviously,
right,
he's not going to limp out there every day.
Around.
Right. But if the guy can come on and even cut promos via satellite or whatever, they should be taking advantage of that rather than doing an alligator versus bull match. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Reigns right now. How are you going to have him via satellite when you can have him in the ring?
I mean, yeah, he was at fucking Ringside Fest the other day. He was in, New York City, and then it just doesn't make any sense. After that Bree match, Jack Swagger versus Tyson Kidd with the Total Divas tie-in with Tyson Kidd and Natty having marital problems. Nobody gives a shit. And then, we quickly jumped to Roman Reigns via satellite interview, which I thought was probably the worst fucking interview I've ever seen.
It was
like no, it was, one fan pointed out that they already recorded Roman's lines, and then Michael Cole just chimed in where he needed to. It was awful. You should have capitalized on having Reigns in New York City, bring him on this show, and actually do an interview in the ring. That would have been better. It was just a waste of time.
I'm pretty sure he was in New York too. That's the fucking thing.
Yeah, he was at Ringside
Fest was in New York City, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was on Saturday.
And there was reports that he was in the script for an in-ring interview. We saw before the show that they had a couple of scripts that they were going through, according to Dave Meltzer. None of them included The Rock. None of them included Heyman, and they did include Roman Reigns being in the ring for an interview. So why is he not in the ring? It makes zero fucking sense to me whatsoever. The only logical answer that I can come up with comes from Andrew Willis on YouTube here, who's chiming in, and he says they're probably saving Daniel Bryan for a big pop return, though, right? Yeah, I can see that, and I can understand why they would try and keep Daniel Bryan out of sight, out of mind, if they want to have a big pop return. Same thing with Roman Reigns. Maybe they don't want him actually in the arena because they don't want him, to spoil his return pop. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the problem here is I can see what's going to happen. They're going to do the same thing they did with RVD. Fucking 2 weeks before both of them return, they're going to advertise it, and then it's going to be a
so they
fucking
can sell
joke.
network subscriptions.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what they'll do. They'll say, "Oh, Brian's returning at the Royal Rumble, and you can watch it on the network for just $9.99." And that's how they're going to capitalize on it. I understand you got to sell the network, but sometimes it's better left to the surprise. More rope breakers weighing in. Let's talk about AJ walking out on people thinking she's done. Cyborg just saw the Did You Enjoy Raw Facebook post, and it's the most positive I've seen in a really long time. 2.3 thousand for yes and 263 for no. And then you mentioned the pop. And then I never thought I would have a wrestling match make me rethink what I am doing with my life. Bull versus Gator managed it. I have to agree. The crowd chanting, "This is stupid." Completely agree. Enough. I'm tired of people running around in fucking animal outfits. The bunny, the gator, the bull. Summer Rae was in a chicken suit a couple months ago. I'm tired of it. As I've said it on, I think, the past two reacts. It's not 1990 anymore. We don't want the fucking gobbledygooker. We don't want these weird cartoony characters. We want people we can relate to. If this is the reality era, I don't want to see a bunny.
Exactly.
I don't want to see a gator. I don't want to see a fucking bull. Even if it is part of the Los Matadores
Well,
gimmick.
the thing is,
I don't care. I don't care.
The thing about it is the funny part is you say, I don't want to see a bunny, I don't want to see a gator, I don't want to see a bull. We're not even seeing any of those because they're all fucking costumes, which makes it 10 times worse. It's an ultimate insult to intelligence. Like,
yeah,
hey, everybody,
I
look
said
at this
that
bunny
last
that's
week.
doing shit. It's just not fucking, like, are we supposed to believe? Is a kid supposed to believe that that's a real bunny? I just don't get the point or the position.
I agree. It's just, I mean, enough is enough, and I just can't stand it anymore. But we're gonna move on from that. That's enough angry ranting from me for now, and we're gonna jump to the next big segment of the night, probably our biggest segment of the night. You have Rusev in the ring, Lana cutting the promo on America and Big Show, Rusev cutting the promo on Big Show and America. And Matt pointed it out on last week's React that Rusev shouldn't talk so much. When he did it last week, it was a surprise. People shut up and they listened. Tonight, that didn't happen. You got the what chance. Last week it was like, oh my god, he speaks English. Like, it made his character more menacing. Now WWE is going to start having Rusev speak every single week, and it's not going to keep the mystery, and it disenchants his character. And as that's happening, The Rock returns to Raw. What a fucking moment! The Rock, mentioned that he was in New York City. He was at the gym, and then he went to Time Warner for a meeting. And they mentioned on some of the news sites that The Rock wasn't scheduled to be at Raw. He wasn't written into the script. There was nothing going around about that. And then luckily Rope Break caught it, threw it up on our Facebook.
Bam.
That The Rock was returning, and we got to everybody before everyone else did.
I
we're
didn't
known
see
for that.
shit on anybody else's page.
We're notorious for that. We do that for you guys. That's what Rope Break does for you. We get it to you before anyone else. The Rock returns.
And not only before anyone else. Sorry to cut you off there, Alec.
That's fine.
Not just before anyone else. We got it to you 25 seconds after The Rock tweeted it out. Go back, look at that screenshot, because I screenshotted it myself. Why? Because I near shit my pants when I saw it on Twitter. I immediately said, I have to get this out to the thousands. and thousands of the rope breakers across Facebook. So I screenshotted that shit and put it up there in 25 seconds. You can't even think of the things you can do in 25 seconds. You can't even run to your bathroom and take a leak in 25 seconds. Don't get up and try and do that.
And I mean, I'm not trying to interject here on that, but that is honestly what I was about to do because Raw was just so fucking boring up until that moment. I mean, I was sitting here scrolling around, checking Twitter, looking for ideas for my next video that I'm going to start working on, and I was checking Facebook, and then, bam! If Your Smell came on, and my jaw dropped to the fucking ground, dude. I was like, they just saved Raw. Holy shit, they just saved Raw.
Absolutely.
It was incredible. Honestly, it was.
It definitely, like you mentioned while we were off the air, that it kind of saved the show. It picked the momentum back up after the show kind of took sort of a small downturn. But indescribable, really. When the music hit, I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, it's time for this segment. And the music hits, I jump up, I almost break my laptop. I wouldn't be here for this show, but I'm clapping. It's moments like that that really makes me appreciate the WWE and being a fan of wrestling and sports entertainment, things like that, that really make it worthwhile watching and going through all the bullshit and those small, returns like that, those returns that really, bring you back to your child. Really, you get stuck in the moment of just watching there, and it just, you just feel proud to be a fan of sports entertainment. And The Rock and his classic stick with the finally, and then insulting Rusev with The Rock doesn't pull his shorts up to his nipples, the Moscow Moose Knuckle. I mean, it was a great segment. I mean, I loved every single minute of it. I'm glad The Rock did decide to make an appearance on Raw. Hype up the crowd, hype up the fans at home. It was great. Aussie, you're probably the biggest Rock fan in the world, so I'm gonna give the floor to you right now.
Well, I appreciate you going out on a limb and saying that, but I'll tell you exactly what went down here at the Aussie residence. And if you don't know where that is, it's in the SmackDown Hotel Room 316.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here and, like Randy said, I'm scrolling around, I'm sulking, I'm, in the fetal position crying to myself about how terrible Raw has been. And all of a sudden, once Rusev paused, he just kind of sat there and was, he was waiting for the Rock's music to hit.
Right.
I knew it. It was like it snapped, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's gonna happen!" And then I basically got myself in position to jump as high as I fucking could off of my couch. And immediately when the music hit, that's exactly what I did, and I squealed like a little girl. I'm not afraid to admit it. But that, like you said, Alec, just the type of shit that The Rock probably showed up there 20 minutes before he fucking went on. He goes out there, and he says what he says, like you said, the fucking Moscow Moose Knuckle, the Smirnoff bottle up her Putin, all this creative shit that just comes to him, ad lib.
Nobody writes that shit,
Exactly.
No, that's why it's so amazing to watch, because it just happens right on the spot, and it just adds so much to that moment.
And the best part about The Rock is, and it's the same with Triple H, it's the same with Stone Cold Steve Austin, what happens is they immerse themselves into their character.
Absolutely.
When you see The Rock, and even, I know his character has, morphed through the years, but when you see The Rock, you don't see a character, you see The Rock. That is him. My problem with a guy like Roman Reigns right now is I don't feel like when Roman Reigns is out there on the mic that is a real human being. I feel like that is somebody trying to portray a character. And that's the issue at hand there. But before I get off topic, I just want to quickly and I say quickly, I'm using that word loosely, but I want to just say that a lot of people were pissed off on Twitter that The Rock came back for this one night only deal, and oh, here comes another part timer, blah 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 blah. The problem that a lot of these small-minded WWE fans out there have is they don't see what this did for Rusev, whether it be one day, 10 minutes, whatever. The
Absolutely,
Rock
yeah.
coming out and saying the names Rusev and Lana and leaving would have been a massive rub for those two characters. And let me just say that I'm thoroughly impressed with the way Lana and Rusev reacted to The Rock. Both of them, I mean, Lana gets in there and talks shit right back to The Rock. Then fucking Rusev gets up there and calls Rock a piece of American garbage.
Hmm.
Like, that's legit shit. Like, that it means something for you to stand up to The Rock. Whether you got the smackdown laid on you after really doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, one, The Rock came out, he knew who you were. Two, you had the balls to step up to him and stand up to him. So those two things there wholeheartedly legitimize Rusev and Lana for me if they weren't already legitimized. And I think that's a big deal. A lot of people don't see it. All they see is, oh, The Rock's coming back for one night and then he's leaving us. No, that was a big deal.
I definitely agree. It was a huge deal. Definitely a huge honor for those two with Rusev and Lana. Really, The Rock saying, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a segment with these two because, besides, Brock Lesnar, Rusev is really the one with the most legitimate heat in the company right now. So to come out and do that segment and really acknowledge them was a good thing for Rusev and Lana in their storyline, and it should progress well from here. Randy, I want to get your thoughts on The Rock returning to Raw.
Well, I mean, it's like I was saying a minute ago, dude. I was just messing around on Facebook because it was just it was so mind numbing, and it has been really the past couple of episodes, and I mean it's things like that when The Rock made his appearance on Raw just unexpectedly. I mean, like you guys did, you posted the tweet like 25 seconds after he had come out, and I saw that, and I was like, that looks interesting. I wonder what's going to happen. Maybe he's going to be via satellite or something like Roman was. And I mean, that entire thing was kind of ass backwards because Roman Reigns is always there, and then The Rock is usually the one who's via satellite. And it was completely different this time, and I think that's the reason why the WWE did that, was so they could get a little bit more of a reaction out of people because it was so unexpected. Nobody expected that. And, I mean, it's for Lana and Rusev to be so new. I mean, they've been there, since last year's Royal Rumble, and they really haven't gotten over with the crowd yet. I mean, except for being a heel team. And, like, The Rock to come out and, kind of promote that for them was awesome. It really, really put the spotlight on them in that manner to, really get them over and as a heel crew because, of course, The Rock, nobody writes his scripts. He is The Rock. He just does whatever the fuck he wants. He says whatever the fuck he wants.
Absolutely.
He's The Rock. And, I mean, it really, really did save that entire segment because, nobody expected it, and it was just completely, it's like Randy Orton's RKO was from out of nowhere, that truly was from out of nowhere. A lot of people were not expecting that, and I think that really, really helped with tonight's Raw. And in my honest opinion, it helped a lot. It would have been like CM Punk returning, man. It was huge.
Yes, the ever mysterious Phil Brooks. We're all waiting for his return. A lot of rope breakers weighing in over here on YouTube. Definitely want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching the show. Riku78 saying, I think The Rock might be back for a bit. I really want to see Rusev versus Rock. Unfortunately, I think it's just a one-off thing. He was in the area, kind of a last-minute setup. The way it really works with his contracts in Hollywood is he can't really wrestle because, he could sustain an injury that could keep him out of filming like what happened with Hercules, and they lost a couple $1 million because of his injury. And then Dr. Cyborg weighing in about Reigns. It's forced, it's set lines to be liked, and there's no deviation from those lines, so no personality can come across. Definitely agree. King Trace Shiny Hunt. They really need to allow Lana to have the microphone again. They hardly have let her after the Malaysia flight comment she made. It's just a character. She does, get on the mic a lot. She's Rusev's mouthpiece, so I'm sure there's really no problem there. And then Cyborg Wayne again. When you're faced with a guy like The Rock, you have to come across like you have big steely balls that clink together when you walk, or you are going to crumble. Definitely agree, and that's exactly with what Rusev did. And Andrew Willis, I'm still shocked WWE didn't tease the return for the ratings boost. I'm sure word of mouth helped with that ratings boost. People who were old fans in the Attitude Era, early 2000s, that were Rock fans, don't really watch the product anymore, and they still have friends who watch the product. I'm sure they called them up and said, hey, go to USA right now, go to Raw, The Rock is on, go watch it, he's in the ring, go. And, I'm sure word of mouth definitely helped that segment, like it did in the old days when there wasn't Twitter and Facebook and, all these social media sites where the news gets out like that, where you had to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, go watch this. So word of mouth definitely helped with that segment. And, what a great surprise. Maybe we'll see a couple more surprises in the coming months. Maybe not The Rock, but, Stone Cold Steve Austin rumored for a comeback. You can go check that article out on RopeBreakWrestling.com right now. It's up there. We got it.
That was a hell of an article right there.
Stone Cold Steve Austin makes his return.
Aussie makes his return. Aussie 316 weighing in. After that segment, you had Paige and Alicia Fox versus AJ and Emma, with AJ walking out because she waited too long to get tagged in. I don't really have any thoughts on this. I don't know. I just don't. So, we're just gonna quickly move on. What I really want to talk about is that new Wyatt vignette for Eric Rowan. Now Bray Wyatt is saying that he's not only set Luke Harper free, but he's set Eric Rowan free, and we have reported to you on RopeBreakWrestling.com about that situation, and there was kind of conflicting reports from two different sources. One source was saying, they're breaking them apart, Harper's getting a singles push, Rowan's kind of going to be there, and then another report said that they were slowly breaking them up, and that the Ascension was going to move in and be Wyatt's new cronies. And, we did that on RopeBreakWrestling.com. We got that news to you. Aussie, you talked about it on the Sharpshoot. Matt talked about it on Before the Bell. It was a big topic in the world of wrestling, because we do care about the character Bray Wyatt, because he is such a dynamic character and has a lot to bring to the table on the mic, in the ring. We could go on and on and on. But the thing I really want to point out in that vignette right at the end is, you have the pregnant woman, and it's coming written on her stomach. And I'm wondering if that's kind of the precursor to them bringing in the Ascension as, Wyatt's new cronies. Now that Harper and Rowan are set free, a new family is going to be born. And I'm wondering if that's kind of the kickoff, that's planting the seed for the Ascension to come in. Randy, do you got anything to, add to that?
Not exactly. Not exactly. Go ahead, Ozzy. You can take over on this one. I don't know what to say.
Well, I'll tell you what. I talked about it on, like Alex said, I talked about it on this past week's edition of the Sharpshoot with Ozzy, which if you haven't checked out, you're absolutely fucking clueless, because that show kicks ass. And I don't care if I have to promote it myself. No, seriously, though. I do have a good time doing that show, and honestly, I bust my ass to get it out every single week. So if you're a fan, go check out the Sharpshoot with Aussie right on our YouTube page. But what I talked about was the fact that I do not like them breaking up the Wyatt family, at least the way they're doing it. I feel like there's a lost opportunity there with Harper and Rowan. Usually what you do is, like I I referenced Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, the typical tag team breakup. One guy wants that singles push and he screws the other guy over or whatever. I feel like that could have been done yet again with the Wyatts there, and I also feel that um, the Ascension coming up. Why not have Bray Wyatt recruit them, and then you have a fight between the real Wyatts and the Ascension over, battling for who's going to be in the Wyatt family, you know what I mean? Who's going to have Bray's trust and, all this shit like that. I feel like Bray's just letting these two go, and then we're supposed to forget that they were ever, part of the Wyatt family. And then what's going to happen with a guy like Eric Rowan, who clearly is not ready for a singles push? And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't really think that, I mean, Luke Harper is ready as far as in the ring goes, but we don't know enough about his character. He's not, he's not developed enough. That's the thing about a tag team, even like the Road Dogg and Badass Billy Gunn. We knew a lot about their character because they were on WWE TV for a long time. They never got those singles pushes, really, but you knew about their character, and we don't really know that much about Luke Harper. He hasn't really done that much talking. Yeah, he's been on the mic a couple of times, but they haven't developed him enough where you can really get behind him as a singles competitor. And who's he going to face? I mean, who is a logical opponent for Luke Harper now that Bray Wyatt is letting him off freely? So there goes Bray Wyatt. He has no beef with Eric Rowan right now. They're still part of the family. They haven't been on TV. So who does Luke Harper go after? I have no idea. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, you could, do the obvious choices of Big Show, Mark Henry, Rusev, Kane. I mean, the bigger guys on the roster. That's about it.
Well, I mean, actually, let me go ahead and interject you on that. I do have something to say. The whole thing with Eric Rowan is I mean, I really haven't seen a whole lot of things coming from this guy. I mean, get me, don't get me wrong or anything. I mean, he's an excellent big guy for, he's pretty quick in the ring. He's kind of like Ryback whenever it comes to quickness. I mean, I'm not comparing the two together, but I mean, other than that, I really haven't seen a whole lot of stuff coming from Eric Rowan. I mean, Luke Harper, on the other hand, he is awesome. I personally like him. He's like right up next to Bray. I mean, I'm not putting him like here's how I see it. Bray is right here, and Luke Harper is right here, and Eric Rowan is kind of down here because, I mean, Eric Rowan haven't really seen a whole lot of stuff coming from him. He's just the big guy in the Jason Voorhees suit coming out with a lamb mask. That's all I really see coming from this guy. And I mean, like, whenever you have guys like Luke Harper, I mean, the first time I ever heard him talk, the only thing that I could think of was, like, this guy has a voice that's so smooth. He could tell you that he's killing your family with a butter knife, and it would still calm you down. And, I mean, like, Bray Wyatt going in, I mean, them trying to split them off, I really don't want them to, I don't want to see them do that just yet, because the Wyatt family really hasn't gotten over with the crowd, in my opinion, as much as they should have. I mean, Bray Wyatt has, because, he's a god on the mic, in my opinion. And, I mean, other than that, the other two members of the Wyatt family, they really haven't had a chance to shine like Bray has, other than Luke Harper. Eric Rowan is just the big bodyguard type guy, and I really haven't seen anything coming from him. That's the reason why I don't think he's ready for a singles push. And whenever it comes to Eric Rowan's single push, he could be ready, but I could see them doing something like he's faced for a couple of months, and then they turn him heel, he gets injured, and then he's another Ryback. Seriously. I see them doing that to him. I mean, other than that, they really should not split the team up, because they are the Wyatt family. You cannot look at them without seeing the Wyatt family. Seriously. Even if they're single. Bray Wyatt singled, still the Wyatt family. Luke Harper singled, still the Wyatt family. I mean, that's just the way that I see it. I don't think that they should split them up just yet.
Right, and Matt has said the same thing on Before the Bell, saying that he doesn't think that the Wyatts are really ready to be split up. They still need more time to develop, and a lot of rope breakers agreeing, that they do need more time. They need to stay together as a team. Over here on our YouTube comments, saying it. Let's see here. It took the
Lot
Shield
of
two
people.
years to build up. Yeah, it took the Shield 2 years to build up to the members individually. But the thing with the Wyatts, they haven't been individuals. They need the team at this time. Dr. Cyborg, see, I think the way they're doing it, it lifts all the Wyatts to a level playing field for them to break up, if that is what's happening. They're breaking them up, and they'll get back together. King Trace Harper in the ring is above Rowan, but his character is in the same ballpark as Rowan's. They aren't developed at all past the family. Definitely agree with that there. Eric hasn't had a word, hasn't had his wow, where the hell did that come from moment. He's not surprised. Us, it's all been the same, nothing bad really, but it's nothing to grab us. Definitely agree. I mean, I've never been a fan of Eric Rowan, but that could change with some sort of singles push, and then King Trace weighing in again. Eric has the mask. Praise the mask. A lot of rope breakers here feel very strongly about what they're doing with the Wyatt family. Some pretty strong opinions here at Rope Break about that as well. And as we get to the final minutes of our show here on React After Raw, you had The Miz versus Sheamus. Not even going to talk about it because, if you're new here, if you're not new, Rope Break doesn't like Sheamus. So we're going to quickly move on for that. Jump to our main event.
Completely killed Sheamus.
I always bury Sheamus. I can't help it. I can't help it. The guy just doesn't do anything. Enough ranting about Sheamus. But, you have the main event, which was turned into a handicap 1-on-3 match with Cena versus Rollins, Kane, and Orton. Kind of expected something similar to last week where, they just took out John Cena just to get the match over with. I didn't really pay attention to this match until at the very end. And then, you had Ambrose come back with the hot dog cart, which I thought was gold, played into the character so well. He goes to Coney Island, and he comes back with a hot dog cart. And then, he takes a bite of a hot dog, and, he's standing there like Clint Eastwood in, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with, his ketchup and mustard shooters, and then he shoots Kane and Orton in the face.
I see what you did.
It's great. And, then, you have Cena attacking people, and then Rollins gets sauerkraut and pickles dumped on him. And he's trying to crawl up the ramp because he's slipping everywhere. I mean, it was booked so well. It was written so well. It was a good way to end the night after a pretty decent show. I was entertained the whole time, really watching that afterwards. And, then you had the Authority come out and make the announcement that we've all been waiting for, which we reported to you on RopeBreakWrestling.com that, they were planning on doing a opening match at Hell in a Cell, which is John Cena versus Dean Ambrose to face Seth Rollins, presumably in the main event in a Hell in a Cell match. And then they did plant the seeds earlier in the night with Cena saying, eventually Seth Rollins isn't going to have a way to, get out. And that was planting the seeds for the match and the pay-per-view. And then another part of the rumor was the loser was going to go on to face Randy Orton and be keeper of the key. Whatever happens. I personally hope that it does end up as Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins, main eventing the show. And I said that in the article that I think it's time WWE takes the younger talent, the hot, the younger talent that's hot with the crowd right now, really crowd eating up the storyline. They need to be that main event. It needs to be Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. It's really going to sell that pay-per-view. It might help with your network subscription. Sure, it'd be okay if we saw John Cena versus Seth Rollins, but the payoff won't be as good if it's not Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. That's what needs to happen. WWE needs to let that younger talent shine and really put the future of the company in their future superstars' hands. So I hope that's what happens. If Cena goes on to face Orton, whatever, they always have good matches, and I'm sure it'll be entertaining. If Cena goes on to be keeper of the key, I mentioned in the article that it'd be great to see Cena have some sort of struggle where should I open the cage, should I not open the cage? I want to get to Seth Rollins, but I'm a good guy, I shouldn't do it. there's a lot of things that could happen, but in the end, it needs to be Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Aussie, I'm curious to get what you think about that final segment on Raw.
I think that first off, I'm in agreement with you. It has to be Rollins Ambrose in this main event, in my opinion. And to be perfectly honest with you, if that happens, how many people are worried about the WWE title not being defended? I don't think anybody is if you have that main event, and that's a reason why it needs to be that main event. The two scenarios that I see happening here is one, they actually realize what they should be doing, and they give us that Ambrose versus Rollins match. I think if Triple H were in charge, I think he knows that that is best for business. Dare I
Absolutely.
say that? But another option is I see them thinking, guys like Michael P.S. Hayes, guys like Pat Patterson, saying that, well, John Cena could, really rub Seth Rollins here. I don't think that's the way to go, and the reason I feel that way is because I think that Ambrose beating Cena puts Ambrose over, and then regardless of who wins the Hell in the Cell match between Rollins and Ambrose, both of those guys are going to get over because that match is going to be epic.
Absolutely.
I don't think we need to see John Cena in the Hell in a Cell, and I'm not saying that because I'm a John Cena hater. But here's the perfect scenario. Perfect scenario is we see John Cena lose to Dean Ambrose, and we see Dean Ambrose lose to Seth Rollins. So then you've got Ambrose going over Cena. He gets over big there. And then he's going to have a great match against Rollins. So that just keeps him up there. And then Rollins, wins to keep himself up as well. Then, I mean, I know we've been talking about a John Cena heel turn and how unlikely it is, but we've been hearing a lot about how Randy Orton is supposed to turn face here. If he's going to turn face, there's got to be room for him to join the face part of the roster. I just don't see Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, all these guys all being faces, Randy Orton, John Cena. Somebody's got to turn heel. And what better of a time, like you said, maybe John Cena is the keeper of the keys. Maybe he runs in there and attacks Ambrose. Maybe, he faces... maybe he faces Orton in Hell in a Cell or some shit like that as a consolation prize, and we see some kind of double turn there. I don't know. All I know is, like I said, there's not going to be enough room on the roster for that many faces going forward, so somebody's going to have to jump ship. And I do think Cena can give a good rub to Ambrose, but I think it needs to be Ambrose versus Rollins in Hell in a Cell.
I definitely agree with you there. It needs to be Ambrose and Rollins in Hell in a Cell no matter what. It'll just be better overall in the end. And, a lot of rope breakers kind of disagreeing with us, saying, I like the inclusion of Cena because it's nice to see the storylines collide like this. It brings a new dynamic to it rather than turning into a Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote scenario. I'm not saying I don't, I'm against Cena being in the storyline. I'm just saying that in the end, it needs to be Ambrose and Rollins in the cell. I mean, Cena can be in the storyline all he wants. I think he does add to the storyline and adds more depth to it. But in the end, the younger talent needs to be the one in the main event to go over with the crowd and really start pushing the company in the right direction. And that's all I'll say on that. And Randy, I want to get your thoughts on that final segment on Raw.
I was kind of like you, Alec. I mean, I really wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to it, and I mean, if I get what you're saying, whenever you're like they went ahead and planted a couple of the seeds there for the Ambrose and Rollins feud, because I mean, it's been one of the best that I've seen in a long time coming from the WWE, and it's honestly throwing Cena in there. I mean, I'm not going to be your typical Cena hating fan over here and say that it's just god awful that they threw him in at the last minute. I understand now why they threw him in, because it's honestly, I hope Ambrose does beat him in the Hell in a Cell, because it'll give him a chance to put all the naysayers behind him, and give him a chance to actually put over somebody that truly deserves it. if Cena wins, you know, there's going to be a lot of butthurt fans. But of course, you know, every time Cena wins, there's going to be a fucking butthurt fan. You know, it's just the
I'm
Right.
way
gonna be
that
one of
Cena
them.
is. It's the way that heck is. I heard that, Ozzy. I heard that. But I mean, I'm with Ozzy. I mean, I'm gonna be a butthurt fan if they put Cena over, because honestly, Ambrose needs to be the one that faces Seth Rollins in the Hell in a Cell.
Right. A
They,
couple rope breakers did say that too. You know, Ambrose needs to be the one at the pay-per-view. He needs to get his revenge, or him just getting pummeled each, getting taken out, with the cinder blocks. Everything is, it's going to be worth nothing. So, they definitely agree with that, and you agree with that.
exactly. I mean, the fact that they're taking Roman Reigns. I mean, I understand that he's had surgery and everything like that, and they're taking him off TV, and he's supposed to be back within probably about a month or so. They've given him I think 6 weeks off or something like that. But I mean, whenever you said that a couple of the babyfaces need to jump ship, I completely agree with you on that, because there are one too many faces in the company right now, and the fact that we need a better heel. I mean, we have Orton, and of course we have old as fuck Kane and stuff like that. I mean, Kane honestly does not need to be in any more matches. He doesn't need to interfere in any more matches. He just needs to be the fucking director of operations. That is supposed to be his title, and they're just kind of, I feel like they're just kind of throwing him in just to be there, because he's Kane. He's not wearing the mask. He just made See No Evil 2, blah blah blah, Kane this, Kane that, and I mean, I don't like him as much as I used to, because he's become this corporate puppet, and it does not look good on him. The fact that they're throwing that to him in that direction as being the authority's little puppet. I mean, it's about time to give that spotlight to somebody else. And I mean, like I said with Cena, there's going to be a lot of butthurt fans if he doesn't put Ambrose over. And I mean, people will shrug it off and they'll get over it. And I mean, but honestly, Ambrose really does need to be there with Seth Rollins, because it'll give the newer guys so much fucking momentum, regardless if it causes Ambrose to turn heel the next night on Raw. I don't give a damn,
Definitely.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, that was a really, really confusing segment to me, because I really wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to it. So, I mean, I was honestly trying to find a hat so I wouldn't have to deal with the Jufro that I've got going on. So, I mean, I really wasn't paying so much of attention that I should have been, but that's really all I can say about that segment, is the fact that they need Ambrose and Rollins in the main event.
Definitely agree with you there. And, that's our hour. We're kind of rolling into overtime here, but we're going to get the show over with quickly. I'm pretty sure you guys are tired, want to go to bed. It's been a long night. Definitely an exciting Raw. And exciting Raw does tire you out. And it's everybody's favorite part of the show. Final thoughts and letter grade. So, Randy, I'll jump to you. Your letter grade for Raw.
My letter grade for Raw. That's a tough one, because I mean, like I said, it was really, really boring through most of it. The first hour was mess. Second hour was all right. The fact that they threw The Rock in. The fact that they threw The Rock in kind of upped it a little bit. But I mean, honestly, and I'm probably being nice when I say this, but I'll give it a C+.
C+, wow. Man, I didn't know Matt was on this show. Holy shit. Man, he usually gives the bad grades. Wow, all right, man, that is strong. I like it. All right, the returning Aussie. For the first time in a long time, your final thoughts and letter grade for Monday Night Raw.
First off, I want to say it's been great to be back on React, and Alec runs a great ship around here, and it's been a blast. And I want to also say this is a really, really tough Raw to grade here, because I can't just go giving this Raw a C or a C+, because the great one was on it. And basically anything the great one touches turns to gold. You know what I mean? But at the same
The Rock
time,
is what made it a C+.
right, well, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, I would say it was probably a D- before The Rock showed up, and I think that star power alone brings it to at least a B minus. Yeah, let's face it, the rest of the show sucked ass, for lack of a better way to say it. It was terrible. It absolutely sucked. But at the same time, anytime a Raw actually makes you physically squeal like a girl or jump off your couch or, come to tears, all three of which I did, then it can't be that bad of a Raw. Seriously,
No.
The Rock showing up on the show made my night alone. Like that could have been the show. They could have had one segment and just ended it, and I would have been, pretty happy. I'm gonna go out on a limb and give it a B.
All right, yeah, I definitely agree with you there. The Rock definitely did help the show. Wasn't the greatest Raw for most part. I mean, they did do a good job in starting to set up Hell in a Cell and the matches that could be there. Like you said, The Rock helped further develop this triangle between Cena, Rollins, and Ambrose. So definitely they're working towards something for Hell in a Cell, definitely making it great. And, Rope Breakers, I want to know your letter grade in the comments section. Let us know. Tell us what you thought Raw was worthy of it. And I'm going to have to agree. I'm going to give it a B. It wasn't the worst Raw. It's better than some that we've gotten in recent weeks. I can do without the guest stars. And if the guest star segment,
about them.
if the guest star segment next week is just as shitty as the one this week, it's going to be a very angry react. And you guys may not have seen it, but sometimes when I get angry, it gets crazy. But like I said, I'm going to give it a B. I don't know what Matt will give it. I'm sure he might talk. He might talk about it on Before the Bell this week, which is every Friday at noon. For those of you who don't know, and speaking of shows here, Aussie, I'm going to give you a chance to tell these people watching about the Sharpshoot.
Yeah, and definitely check out Before the Bell. Matt's been doing an excellent job with that. And also, if you haven't checked out Randy Hill's CM Punk tribute video, that is up on our Facebook page as well. Randy did an excellent job there. And I do have Matt's first comments after seeing The Rock hearing on Raw. He said this: "Holy fuck." Then he said, "Yes." Then he said, "Dude, I damn near jumped out of my window."
That kid is always either jumping out of windows or jumping off a roof, I swear to God.
Yeah. So it's safe to say that Matt was pretty excited to see The Rock. And as far as the Sharpshoot goes, every Thursday we're going to have this show going. So if you haven't checked it out on the page, go ahead, check it out now, or after this show, I should say. And I need your guys' help this upcoming week talking about what we're going to shoot on, the different topics. We have a bunch of different segments on the show. How do you like me now? Where I kind of shoot on something that's kind of an unpopular opinion that I might have. It's true. Sometimes you people just need to hear the truth about, some of your favorite wrestlers. And then, of course, the Sharpshoot. If you guys have any topic suggestions or anything that you want to hear me shoot on for this upcoming show, tweet me at IamAussie or tweet us at Rope Break Wrestling, and you can use the hashtag Sharpshoot. And that's pretty much all that I have to say about that. To those of you that have been tuning in each and every week, I really appreciate it. The show continues to grow, and if, like Matt would say, I feel like I have to say it here. Rope Break Wrestling, it's a lifestyle, and if you're not telling your friends about it, you're just not a good friend. And that's pretty much.
There we go. We say it. Matt says it every week. We got to drive the point home. It's a lifestyle, and if you're not telling your friends about Rope Break, you're not a good friend. But yeah, you guys can always check out the Sharpshoot on Thursdays, Before the Bell on Fridays, and as always, we're here on React After Raw every single Monday night. We're always here for you to react and review Raw, give you our letter grades, our thoughts. That's what we're here for. We're for the fans, by the fans. And before we sign off here, Randy, the CM Punk tribute video was great. Let the Rope Breakers know if there's another one in the works, because I'm sure they want to see it. If they haven't seen it yet, jump on our Facebook, go find it. We might repost it. Go find it, watch it. It's great. So
Actually,
Randy,
yes. I will give
anything.
one more spoiler. I actually said it on Facebook the other day, and none of the WWE meme fans that like the video know anything about it yet because it's still developing in my mind as we speak. I've gotten, I think, maybe like 4 seconds of the video done right now, and it's going to be a Daniel Bryan tribute video package with the song by Nickelback, Hero. And I think that song goes perfect with his situation at the moment because he did indeed give us a hero to believe in my opinion, And I see Ozzy over there smiling.
A hero can save
Yes.
us.
Go ahead and make fun of me. I don't give a damn. Go ahead. But
I'm not making fun of you.
But no, that it is in the works. It'll probably be out within by I'm gonna say either 8th or the 10th. It'll be out.
Wow.
All right.
Turning them
Definitely.
out quickly.
Definitely looking forward to that. Definitely, CM Punk video, you did a great job. Definitely excited to see what happens with the Daniel Bryan video. And folks, oh wait, Aussie weighing in right before we sign off. Hashtag no more PGWWE. Hey, it's happening. A revolution has begun. The product getting a little more risky. It's a new era, folks. It's happening.
One more
Hashtag.
thing, I really do appreciate you guys giving me credit for that video. That meant a lot.
Absolutely. Hey, you're part of the Rope Break team, man. This is what we do. We support everybody. Hashtag no more PGWWE. You want to tweet us? Hey, use that hashtag. Whatever you want to talk about. Yeah, send it. Maybe there'll be a topic on the Sharpshooter before the bell. Who knows? It could happen this week, but it's all up to you guys. With that, it is time to sign off here. There's been another great episode of React After Raw. We will be here, as always, next week, immediately following Monday Night Raw, and we hope you guys will be back here too. Thank you all for tuning in every single week, tuning in for tonight. Definitely a great night. Aussie giving the people's eyebrow as his sign-off. For everybody here at Rope Break Wrestling, that's Aussie, that's Randy. And for Matt, I'm Alec, and this has been React After Raw.
And if you aren't down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Rope break.
Rope break.
Good night, everybody.